Coach, just give us your overall takeaways, 5 forced turnovers. I'm sure that makes you happy. Is that anything more than that to take away from what you did against Texas Tech?
Well, I thought the run defense was improved again. I mean, we were going up against one of the nation's top rushers, and to hold him for 3.4 yards an attempt where he was averaging over 6 going into the game, I thought was huge. So that was a big improvement. I thought that was good. I thought the coverage, just the discipline of the coverages for the most part, other than one play, was much better. Obviously the turnovers was huge. There were moments on third down where we looked like we were supposed to look, and that's still an area where we got to get better. So anyway, a lot of good, some things still to clean up, but I do believe we're heading in the right direction.
I wanted to ask about busted coverage, right? Just a miscommunication on the back end.
Yeah, it was just a miscommunication. The two corners, one thought he was going to take the wheel route, the other one thought that he was going to have protection over the top. Reality was we just got to communicate that a little bit better and how we play it, but that's an easy fix.
Texas this week, they're just an elite offense, but you have another backup quarterback leading the way it looks like. So what do you make of them?
Well, I've said this before. I mean, we got to anticipate that the backup quarterback plays better than the starter, and he's got elite talent around him. They got a great run game. They got a great throwing game. We got to do some things, obviously, to try to confuse just them in the run game and the throw game. But, this is business as usual. We need to just handle our business first and foremost, and it doesn't really matter who's the quarterback out there. We got to expect they're going to play their best.
Do you have any connection to Sark whatsoever? I know you played at Utah, but kind of that same era in a way.
Well, I've met him many times, and I think the world of him. I think he's a phenomenal football coach. I don't have a real close personal relationship like A-Rod and Kalani do, having played with him. There are a few coaches on that staff that I do know very, very well, and think the world of what they're doing and who they are as coaches.
Lots of turnover at the safety position, obviously, this season. How remarkable is it that guys like Ethan Slade and Crew Wakely have been able to step up, and how good have they been?
You know what? They absolutely played outstanding on Saturday. They were two of our best guys on defense. They tackled well. They made some huge plays in the pass game. I was super happy with how those two stepped up and played. And we're going to need more. Those guys probably played too many reps in that game. We need some other guys to step up and take some of that load off of them, which I feel very strongly in those other guys that they can do that. But I'm happy with the group. Adversity strikes, I've said it all along. Someone's got to step up and play well, and I thought those two did a great job on Saturday.
How remarkable is a guy with Crew that didn't play defense in high school at all, has had basically 2 practice sessions playing safety, and is able to do what he's doing out there?
Well, we loved him in high school as a safety. He was super physical. Even though he's playing quarterback, we loved his physicality. We loved his intensity. So we've known about him as a defensive player for a long time. It's just now that we're having the opportunity to let him showcase what he can do on the side of the ball. And like I say, he played very well on Saturday.
As far as the defense goes, obviously not a lot went right against TCU. What did you guys fix specifically against Texas Tech, and how did that come about?
Well, the weird thing about the TCU game, there actually was a lot that went right. I mean, we did a good job of getting them into 3rd and longs. We just did a poor job of executing that down in distance. And I thought the rush defense that day was better than it had been. So there was a lot of good things we did, and then a lot of poor things that really hurt us. I liked the way that we rebounded and solidified a lot of that pass defense issues that we had against TCU. That was a big deal going into that Texas Tech game.
Jay, I don't know if you addressed this because I stepped in late, but blitz packages. How do you kind of philosophy-wise determine when you're going to kind of bring that extra pressure versus when to drop back?
Well, it's hard. It's off some of their tendencies. It's off breaking my tendencies. It's fill the game. It's what we like to certain protections that they do. These last 2 weeks we haven't blitzed quite as much just because the way they spread you out and they just beat everything with the ball. Blitzing's not necessarily the best way to get after some of those run and shoot teams, and so you got to be judicious on how you bring them, where you bring it, and just pick your spots. I thought we did a pretty good job with that on Saturday.
Do you feel like, before a play, do you have a pretty good idea if a blitz is going to get home or if they're going to pick it up, or is it just kind of how it plays out?
No, I think there's times where you're calling a blitz because you think it's going to be the best play for that call, and then there's other times where you call the blitz, and you're really more wanting pressure in the quarterback's face for what's going to occur in the coverage. They're all different on how we use them. The other thing is you want to keep quarterbacks uncomfortable. So if all you're doing is sitting back, sit back, and you never bring pressure, the quarterback never feels rushed. That's not necessarily the way I like to handle it. So we bring pressures to keep the quarterbacks on their toes and know that they can't just sit there and pat the balls when we do drop coverage.
I was talking to Eddie. He talked about how much fun it is occasionally to be that guy called on to use his speed to try and get in the backfield. You know, you bring different guys. You brought a safety blitz, I think. You know, some of that different thing. How much fun is it to kind of look at it and dial up different guys and give them different opportunities?
Well, I think it's exciting for the players. We're trying to give the offensive line different looks. You know, make them have to identify everybody on the field as to who could blitz. That's what it is more than anything, is just making sure they have to defend all 11 guys when it comes to our blitz package.
It's been kind of a hot topic in college football, sign stealing. Have you experienced that at all in your coaching career, where you've kind of known an opponent when he was doing that or trying to get an upper hand?
Yeah, absolutely. It happens dang near every week, and I guarantee it's happened to us this year, and people trying to steal signals. And it's never been anything that the staffs I've been involved with have been too, much into it, but I know it occurs. I know it occurs to us. We try like crazy to make sure that we defend against sign stealing. That's why you have multiple signalers, you have boards, you have different things to try to make sure they can't do that, wristbands. But, I mean, this has been a thing in college football and in the NFL for years and years. This is nothing new.
So you're pretty conscious that going into a week, like kind of have the operation of like trying to find ways to avoid.
You have to assume that they're trying to steal your signals.
And the last thing, too, I don't know if it was asked, John Nelson availability this week?
It doesn't look like we'll have him for this week. You never quite know, but it doesn't look like we'll have him. So.
You also may have addressed this, but Texas, what do you see from them as you get ready to play?
Super talented, great speed, as you would expect from Texas. They have some really, really great O-linemen that I like the way they play. The quarterback, I mean, it was like a 5-star QB coming out of high school. The kid can play. So we got our work cut out for us. They're as talented as, the team that went and beat Alabama and as a top 10 team in the country. So we got our work cut out for us. I love the challenge.
It's good.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.